The movie opens on a dark night as Ryan Verrett, a former police officer, drives to the small town of Hope, Washington. Meanwhile, Dale James Burrows goes hunting with friends but becomes frustrated when he misses a rabbit. Determined, Dale ventures deeper into the forest to track it down. In a calculated act of vengeance, Ryan ambushes Dale, reminding him of Marianne DeRosa before pushing him off a cliff. Ryan is haunted by nightmares of masked men attacking and savagely murdering his family. Awakening from the distressing dream, he methodically assembles his weapon. He visits a cafe where a waitress named Dakota provides him with directions to Hope Pierce County. Upon arriving in town, Ryan stops at a local shop owned by Kirby, who directs him to Darcy, who runs a motel where he can stay. At the same time, Special Agent Frank Sutton of the FBI briefs his team on a series of deaths connected by a disturbing commonality. Dale is identified as a suspect, but Frank soon learns of his demise. Ryan checks into Darcy's motel, paying for a room and signing the register. After receiving his room key from Darcy, he settles in. Ryan then heads to Henny's Social Club, a notorious hangout for a biker gang. Outside the club, Ryan confronts a gang member, sparking a confrontation that draws the attention of the gang's leader, Drake Salgado. However, when a shipment arrives, Drake decides to let Ryan go, though he vows revenge. As Ryan and Darcy become acquainted, Darcy shares the story of her late husband, Mike. Meanwhile, Drake practices boxing, while his brother Rex Ray Salgado informs him about a man named Scorpion who owes the club $1,500. Drake offers Scorpion a deal, one fight with him to clear his debt. Reluctantly, Scorpion accepts, and Drake ruthlessly injures him. After the fight, Drake orders Rex to release Scorpion, as his debt has been paid. Drake also instructs Rex to check on their drug operation. Rex visits the lab and confirms everything is running smoothly. The lab technician informs Rex that Ryan is staying at Darcy's motel. Rex then confronts Darcy, attacking her to obtain Ryan's room number. Ryan locates Rex and renders him unconscious. When Rex awakens, he finds himself tied to a car and desperately pleads with Ryan for his life, attempting to use his connection to Drake as leverage. Ignoring his pleas, Ryan sets the car in motion, crashing it into a wall and killing Rex in the explosion. The gang members inform Drake of Rex's death and they rush to the scene. Ryan seeks solace in a confessional but struggles to open up to the priest. At the site of Rex's death, Sheriff Cole arrives, and Drake reveals the town's control by his powerful group known as the Circle. After the meeting, Sheriff Cole warns his son, Deputy Hedge, to stay out of the situation and leave it to him. The gang, led by Drake, performs a 21-gun salute in honor of Rex. Darcy grows paranoid after noticing movement outside her motel. She reaches for a weapon but is relieved to find it's Ryan visiting her. She informs Ryan about Drake's iron grip on the town and his relentless, vengeful nature. Darcy cautions Ryan to be vigilant, as Drake will surely seek retribution for his brother's murder. The next day, Darcy goes shopping at Kirby's store. Deputy Hedge also enters the store and questions her about Ryan. Agent Frank updates his colleague on the recent discovery of Rex's murder and his connection to Drake. Meanwhile, Darcy meets with Ryan and invites him for dinner the following day, urging him to leave town to avoid Drake's wrath. However, Ryan refuses to go as his mission is unaccomplished. Members of the Circle Gang abduct Kirby, with Drake forcibly enlisting Kirby's help in gathering information about Ryan. Deputy Hedge investigates Ryan's background and uncovers that he was a dedicated officer in Dallas, Texas, information he promptly shares with Sheriff Cole. At the Circle's compound, gang members load illegal merchandise into trucks for distribution. Ryan observes from a distance but hides as he's nearly spotted. During transit, one of the vehicles gets a flat tire, prompting Ryan to attack the driver and inspect the cargo. He then sets the car ablaze, causing an explosion. When Crab informs Drake of the incident, Drake is further enraged. Kirby breaks into Ryan's car and discovers the true motive behind Ryan's visit to Hope. When Ryan catches Kirby snooping, he confronts him. Despite the tense encounter, a friendship forms between them. Kirby reveals the dark history of the Circle, detailing how the club manipulates young men into addiction and debt. He also discloses the location of Drake's boat, which serves as a secondary office, and describes Drake's corrupt practices, including bribing or eliminating law enforcement officers. Kirby confesses that Drake had pressured him into searching Ryan's car for information to which Ryan advises him to reveal everything he knows. They soon notice Crab, the Circle's sergeant-at-arms, watching them. Ryan confronts Crab, and a fierce fight ensues, ending with Ryan defeating him and demanding he leave the premises. Later, Drake meets Sheriff Cole at a bar, bribing him to investigate the truck's explosion and ensure the FBI and other investigators stay out of town. The sheriff accepts the bribe and agrees to assist Drake. Meanwhile, Ryan visits Drake's boat, contemplating an attack on the crew. Deputy Hedge arrives, advising Ryan to wait for backup before launching an assault. He also assures Ryan that he is not influenced by the gang and intends to help him. That evening, Ryan has dinner with Darcy at her home, where he shares the tragic story of his family's execution by a biker gang he had once arrested as a cop. Later, Drake, Crab, and other Circle members attack Kirby at his home, having learned of his friendship with Ryan. Drake considers this friendship a betrayal and reveals the trauma he suffered in prison, where he was subjected to brutal treatment during a blanket party by fellow inmates. Drake's vendetta became deeply personal, driving him to orchestrate not only the attack on Ryan's family, but also similar assaults on other law enforcement families as an act of revenge. The next day, Deputy Hedge discovers Kirby's lifeless body just before Ryan and Darcy arrive at the scene. Distraught, Darcy tries to take a gun to hunt down Kirby's killer, but Deputy Hedge stops her. Ryan leaves the scene, embarking on yet another quest for vengeance. Deputy Hedge later visits Sheriff Cole's office and is surprised to find Drake leaving. Hedge informs the sheriff that the FBI has arrived. Agent Frank questions Sheriff Cole about Rex's death and Drake's involvement with the Circle. However, the sheriff remains protective of Drake, dismissing Rex's death as an accident. During a tense pool game at a local club, Ryan interrupts Crab's match with an opponent, provoking Crab to order his gang members to attack him. The club quickly transforms into a battleground as Ryan skillfully fends off the attackers, maiming most of them. He eventually knocks Crab unconscious and drags him out of the club. In a grim act of retribution, Ryan sets Crab on fire and delivers him outside Henny's social club, catching the attention of Drake and the other club members. Ryan reflects on his once peaceful life with his wife, Constance Marie, and their young son, Matt, a life that was brutally shattered when Drake and the ruthless Circle gang targeted his family. Left as the sole survivor of the horrific attack, Ryan, consumed by rage and grief, is determined to track down and eliminate every person involved in his loved one's massacre. His journey begins with the execution of 3 assailants, marking the start of his vengeful mission. Meanwhile, Deputy Hedge practices his shooting at an off-site location, where Agent Frank joins him. Deputy Hedge reveals that the Circle gang was once the town's protectors, but under Drake's leadership, they transformed into a ruthless criminal enterprise. Agent Frank teams up with Deputy Hedge, while Ryan secretly observes them from afar. The Circle gang prepares for an all-out assault on Ryan. In the dead of night, the gang raids Darcy's motel, plunging the situation into utter chaos. Despite Ryan's efforts to incapacitate many of the attackers, he and Darcy are ultimately overpowered and taken captive. Deputy Hedge and Agent Frank arrive at the scene, quickly calling for backup to rescue Darcy and Ryan from the gang's clutches. When Ryan regains consciousness, he finds himself bound in an abandoned ferry house. Drake reveals that Darcy is also being held hostage as leverage against him. Leaving a prospect to torture Ryan, Drake departs. Seizing the opportunity, Ryan frees himself, overpowers the prospect, and begins scouring the warehouse in search of Darcy, eliminating several captors along the way. Ryan eventually finds Darcy, frees her, and together they make their escape. Sheriff Cole, unable to continue turning a blind eye to the biker gang's crimes and burdened by the consequences of his corrupt actions, commits suicide in his office. Deputy Hedge discovers his body and steps up as the new sheriff, resolving, alongside Agent Frank, to bring down Drake and his gang. During their escape, Darcy and Ryan stumble upon the gang's makeshift headquarters, where they store their manufactured drug merchandise. Drake catches up with them, leading to a brutal showdown between him and Ryan. With memories of his family's murder fueling his fury, Ryan fights relentlessly. Just as Drake appears to gain the upper hand, a gunshot rings out as Agent Frank arrives just in time, killing Drake and putting an end to his reign of terror. In the aftermath, Darcy decides to remain in hope, Determined to rebuild her life in the town, and Sheriff Hedge promises a brighter future for Hope. Agent Frank, understanding the justice Ryan sought, opts not to arrest him. With his mission of vengeance complete, Ryan prepares to leave town. Before he goes, Darcy asks him to send her a postcard to let her know where he heads next. The movie concludes as Ryan drives out of town.